just so everybody knows, my next UTC is going to be sometime in early to mid-May. We're going to do it outside. It's going to be for free, zero charge. I'm going to do a seminar, do it for about an hour. We'll have a Q&A. You can stay after, ask me questions if you want, but it will be no charge, totally for free. It'll be a public service announcement. What I've realized over the years, especially since COVID hit, is how much so many people missed. Just free information that I was giving out that came to light over the course of 2 years that I was saying literally as COVID was hitting 2 years ago. All of the evidence is still in the history of my YouTube videos. And I realize how many people still don't get or understand certain things that are paramount, not just for COVID, but for your immune system and just for overall health. I realize how many people have even done the UTC, watched the videos, and almost have selective hearing with certain concepts, whether it has to do with the immune system, whether it has to do with just basic health issues, meaning like if I'm talking about sleep, or if I'm talking about training, if I'm talking about supplementation, if I'm talking about sugar, if I'm talking about the effect of gluten and dairy or sugar, whatever it is. It's interesting how people have very selective hearing when it comes to certain topics and underestimate the importance of other topics. So one of the things that I talked a lot about, not just during COVID, but way before this, in fact, it was in the UTC manual back in 2008, I did a whole thing on sunlight. And if those of you that have the old manuals back in 2008, you can see that there were 2 full pages devoted to sunlight. And now you see all the things coming out with vitamin D and the research for vitamin D. And what you see more clearly now is that it's not just the vitamin D. What you can predict is that if your vitamin D levels are low, you're going to be much more likely to have a bad outcome. But if you correct for vitamin D, doesn't necessarily correlate to preventing COVID. And this may seem like an oxymoron. It is not. Because if you followed what I was saying back in 2008 and made even more clear over the past 2 years when it comes to sunlight and the things that I do to get these things in, including red light therapy and other forms of light therapy that I've been doing and I've spoken about and I've been doing for the past 20 years. The reason why and how I've been doing this is because none of this has ever been a secret. All you need to do is read. And since this is what I do for a living, I'm extremely interested in health and fitness and wellness and maximizing performance. Just like if you are a financial person, you're very interested in investing. And so you look into other companies and you do things to do your due diligence on where to invest. Well, this is what I do for a living. And I promise you that I work just as hard, if not harder than anybody you know, on this very specific topic. And so I'm spoon feeding what I have learned in these videos over the years. And what I realize is how many people don't realize how simple some of these solutions actually are. And to just give an example of sunlight, like I was saying, if you understand the mechanisms of what's happening and why the full spectrum sunlight is doing your body a hell of a lot better than just vitamin D, and the research is showing this, because it does have to do with UVA and UVB and red light and just being outside and the fats insides that actually increase your natural killer cells. You can take all that information, and I assure you that every single topic that I cover in the UTC has these nuanced things that you need to understand. It's not just about stop eating gluten. It's not just about stop eating dairy. It's not just about your sugar consumption. It's not just about sleep. It's all of the little things that you don't know about sugar or gluten and dairy and the ways that you can mitigate this in terms of other options. Because there's so much technology that's available now that you don't even miss certain things. So many things that you could do for your sleep or your performance. Simple things that you could do for your supplementation to make things easy. So I've decided like this information is just too important. I'm going to give it for free. And as always, those who ask give you the abundance of research from the best sources, the people who do the longitudinal studies, who put them together, who do the peer-reviewed research that you can see. This is what's actually happening. But more importantly, when we do UTCs and when I put these things out one day after the next, I want you to understand mechanisms of action of certain things. So I will be doing that seminar, and those of you that crave more information, if you attend the seminar, I'll also give out a free UTC ebook. So I'll give you the whole UTC manual via an ebook for free as well. So you can look through and peruse at your leisure the information. Now, peruse means to look at deeply. It doesn't mean to just surfacely go through it. It means to actually go through it deeply. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to actually read what's on each page, because you won't be disappointed at what you're reading. And then from there, if you want more information in terms of what works for you, because the UTC is designed to be a target. It's designed to target 90% of the population. And then, of course, there's 10-15% of you that if you have let things go too far, if you have true metabolic dysfunction, if you have autoimmune diseases, if you have things going on in your body, you may need to be privately coached, obviously, because then we would need to nuance things and we could make an appointment to do that for you, okay? But this UTC will be free, it will be outside, and it will be that seminar, and there will be a Q&A, and I will stay as long as you want to answer your questions. The last thing I want to just bring up, guys, if you haven't seen the show Severance on Apple TV, I highly recommend watching it, because it's super relevant to your health and the UTC. You may watch it and go like, how is that relevant to my health? If you think about it, you'll know where I'm going with it. I don't want to give too much away, but guys, I'm telling you, watch Severance. It's one of the more brilliant shows that I've seen in a long time. And at the UTC, I'm going to bring it up for a couple of minutes, because I want you to see the connection between what that show is doing and the brilliance of how and why we sabotage ourselves, what's actually going on when it comes to certain behaviors. Because one of the big things that I've tried to do ever since I wrote my book, Chasing 22, back in 2017, when I published that, was to get people to understand that making certain decisions and carrying certain things out, I actually do understand how and why it is so difficult. There's this one part of your brain that's going, or this inner you, this innie, and there's an outie. Just like in Severance, there's this one part of you that's going, this is what I want, and there's this other part of you that's constantly sabotaging it. That is really important to understand as well. So all these components of the UTC is critical for success, but it's really about the right environment, about creating the correct opportunities for success, and hopefully I will see you guys there, and I will have an exact date for you guys sooner than later, but it will be outside, and I don't want it to get too hot, so it's going to be probably somewhere in the first or second week of May. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the day. Thanks for watching. Please thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't.